race fans, are you ready? It is time. Moxie Media Promotions coming to you live on Spreaker Radio from the Amco Total Car Care Studio. It is West Coast Wide Open coming at you right now. Yes, indeed. It is time for another episode of West Coast Wide Open. We are in the Moxie Media Promotions studio. I'm going to bring in the rest of the gang. We're going to go hot with their mics right now. Ed, Alabama Ed, my drone pilot. Man, a new addition to the team this year. We've got Double G, Gary Grip, Gearhead Gary, a.k.a. He's been a great addition. Got to work with us for our first show last Saturday night at Southern Oregon Speedway. Oh, my gosh. Was it exciting or what?
It was very exciting.
Was that just an intense night of racing?
Absolutely.
And I listen, before we get this thing going, Gary, I want to throw some props at you, man. It was warm. It was warm out there, and I got to tell you, you worked your tail off. I was thinking, man, I hope he comes back for the next show because you were so busy, and honestly, you have probably one of the hardest jobs. With Moxie Media Promotions, being out there in the pit area. You are my eyes and ears. You are my eyes and ears out there, and everything you do is so important to me to give information to the fans. Your I'm telling you right now, man, you were on point. A car came off the track. It didn't matter what car. He was at that pit area, and the information was in the tower right now. I was able to give it to the fans. Lots and lots of compliments on that from Southern Oregon Speedway fans.
I didn't even have a quad.
I know, and I feel bad. I feel bad. We're going to get that changed for you. We didn't have the quad down there, and you were doing it all by foot. Incredible. Again, thanks for everything you did last Saturday because this is a new deal. It's a new track. It's a new crew. There was everything that happened. All in all, I have no complaints. Nothing major went wrong. Not with our responsibilities at the racetrack. Nothing went wrong with the sound system. Nothing went wrong with the announcer. The pit area, you had it covered well. Ed had the sky cam in the air and the footage he captured. We've all got to see a little bit of the footage, and we're chopping up some stuff. In fact, Ed and I spent a couple hours in the video studio today chopping it up, and I'm telling you, he's got some new software.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be great.
Yep.
And he has got this stuff figured out. I mean, he has got it figured out, and I couldn't believe what we used before, which wasn't bad, to what we have now. It is so much simpler.
Yep.
I mean, the simplicity of this new system, I can almost do it now.
I kind of give him a quick tutorial about how to use it and how to pull in the files. But the biggest thing, this year we're using a video camera. And we're going to have a guy up on top of the tower with me, next to me, taking the video. And then we're going to incorporate the aerial video with the other video, which I'm going to call the whole track video. So we're going to be covered on the track, above the track, on the track, because we're going to have car cameras and fence cams.
And the sky cam, plus the brand new Ultra HD 4K. This camera, hey, listen, you guys have seen it. Okay, I'm telling you right now, if you're going to buy something, you might as well do it right. It's the cream of the crop. You cannot get anything better on the market right now.
I'm going to give them a little advertisement here. Canon.
Yes.
You can't go wrong if you got Canon.
And we did our research on this. Ed
Yes,
and I
we did.
sat down with Sandy, and we talked with other media sources that do video and pay-per-view, and every single one of them said, listen, Sony's good, but if you want to be the best,
Canon.
get a Canon.
That's
I said,
right.
okay, well, how long have you been using yours? We don't have a Canon. multiple said, we don't have that yet. So, I mean, there was a few that we talked to that said, yeah, hey, we love our Canon. It's the best of the best. And the ones that didn't have it said, that's what you got to have. So that's what we went and got. Phenomenal. Also, another new addition to Moxie Media Promotions this year. You guys saw it last night all over Facebook. We have our own photographer that is traveling with us. She's going to be there. And things happen for a reason, okay? And I think that, this is a friend of mine, a friend of Sandy and I that we've had for the last few years. She's actually from Kona, Hawaii, okay? We met through a mutual friend. She used to live in Medford and go to the races there, okay? So it's kind of, everything kind of comes full circle. The quality of her photos, did you guys see those last night?
Yes.
Oh, Lord, yes.
Amazing.
What? Yeah. That's top-notch stuff right there.
Down south we call that uptown.
She's.
Or you could even take her downtown. It looks good.
It does. I'll tell you something funny. You guys were there, but the fans that are listening, I'm telling you, this was one of the funniest things that happened all day. We're standing in the tower, getting ready to go live, do the show, and she pulls out one of her cameras out of the bag. She hands me the bag, and she says, please don't drop that. She says, that's a Mercedes. And I got onto what she was saying. This is a very, very, very expensive camera she uses.
Lamborghini.
That's just, one of the two that she uses, right? And she says, don't drop that. She says, that was going to be my Mercedes. I said, I looked at her husband, I handed her the bag, and I said, you can go ahead and hold that. And the look on his face, you guys saw it. Yeah. The look on his face was like, I don't want to.
Yeah, she give it to you for a reason, not me.
Man, I'm telling you,
I think he cradled that thing like a baby too.
He did.
Was getting ready to head out the door.
Well, I've got a Canon camera.
Right.
My still camera. I do. I was doing the photography for Moxie. And,
yes.
And I researched some of the lenses. Geez, I mean, if you really want to get a good telephoto lens, $4,000 is a starting point.
That's the starting. Hers,
and that's for the Volkswagens.
Yeah, hers aren't that.
No.
The lens, you see that? You could see your neighbor's pimples from a half mile away with that thing. I mean, it's nuts. Just the quality of the photos was. I was impressed. Her first show, and
she was wheeling that camera like the cars was wheeling, or the drivers was wheeling the cars.
Here's the thing. And this is your proof is in what you see on the new Facebook page where she has her own photography company. Okay, it's called One Love Photography. Okay, she does a lot of weddings and all the stuff typical photographers do. So we started talking about doing this thing together. And we talked for quite a while. It was a schedule and everything. There was a big discussion about this, a couple meetings, and she took it on her own. Because we're collaborating together to form another LLC, Moxie Love Photography.
Yep.
And I just said, how cool is that? I mean,
incredible pictures.
Yeah,
absolutely incredible.
She did a great job, and look at the angles. She was on top of the tower, in the middle of the track, outside the track, in the pit area. She was, again, without a quad, did it every possible way you could.
And you know what got me is before we even started the show, before the racing began, she was there in the tower with us, and she says, somebody asked her, well, have you took any pictures? And she said, just 1,400.
Yeah, that was before the races started.
1,400.
She sent us a message last night. She was going through her file. Slightly over 4,500 photos snapped.
Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That's what that sport mode will do for you. I've got it on my camera. It takes like six pictures at once.
Traction control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. But we're glad to have Nina on board with Moxie Love Photography. And I'm excited to have her and the product that we can bring to the fans and Southern Oregon Speedway. I really, really, really want to give a shout out to the fans and teams.
Oh, yes.
And staff at Southern Oregon Speedway. For being there for the first show and working together as a whole unit, it couldn't have gone any smoother.
Nope.
And talk about feeling welcomed. Can you guys?
Couldn't been any nicer.
Were we welcomed?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Fans and all. Everybody was going, hey, man, we're sure glad you're here. We're glad you're on board. And we're going, I'm standing back like going, okay.
Yeah, it was well, and that was on both sides of the track, in the pits and on the grandstand side. There was huge reception for us. I couldn't have felt more welcomed. Truly, I mean, a great crowd. I mean, did you see the size of that crowd?
Oh my gosh.
We're talking near capacity.
Yeah.
They were still letting people in at the end of the heat races. There was people that paid just to watch the mains.
There was people coming in at 8 and 9 o'clock.
I know it. The line was. We were really pushing capacity.
I don't even think you got footage of the actual line.
He got
yes,
it.
I did.
He got it.
It's
part
on
of
Moxie.
It. Yeah.
It's on Moxie.
I thought it was
There's a
longer
video.
than that at one point, though.
It was.
If you that video is kind of misleading.
Yeah.
Because for some reason when I edited that video, and I'm going to admit I'm not a great editor, but for some reason trying to psych that stuff in there and sync it and get it to work correctly, I missed the tail end of the line, which went past up to the bank, around the bank, and into the car.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you look at that video, it just shows right there in front of the main gate, in front of the ticket stand. Then when I turned around and went over, and that was very, very early.
That was
That was just after they opened the gates at like,
Right.
what, 3:30,
And that
4
line was
o'clock?
like that for 2.5 solid hours. Yeah.
Yep.
It was awesome. Kudos to the track. Okay, now you got to consider all weather down there has not been much like here in the valley. Willamette Valley, we traveled 3.5 hours south to the Rogue Valley. They got a lot of moisture this summer, or this spring, like we did. That affects that ground, which is very different. More of a desert ground than it is here in the valley. The track, I heard a couple of guys say, "Oh yeah, the track was really bumpy or it was really rough." If that is what those drivers are going to call really rough, I would hate to see what they would call a really rough track, because I didn't think the track was that bad.
No.
I mean, truly, it got a little dusty, which is not typical of a Mike McCann racetrack. He likes to keep a little moisture in there, in respect for the crowd. A lot of racers won't, that's a lot of the late model and higher horsepower sprint car guys like a little dry slick. Sprint cars, they'll run on hooked up anything. I mean, that's.
Yeah.
But you look at the stock cars and those guys, they like it a little slick, a little dry. So they were loving the track Saturday night. There was some guys that complained about the track being bumpy. I didn't think the track was that bad at all. I thought the track, all things considered, was great.
Well,
Okay.
I took the Moxie cam right down about a foot off the ground and went right down the track. When everybody was walking the track before the races started, for the features.
Mm-hmm.
I took it right down on the track, a foot above the track, and went all the way in front of the grandstands, all the way into turn 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the only thing I could see was, the way it'll stick and pick up.
Right.
And you might have a little 1-inch pothole or something,
Yep.
where
Yeah.
it'll stick to the tire or spew it out. That's the only thing I've seen. But
Yeah.
other than that, it looked really good.
I mean, we didn't have ruts turning cars over.
No.
We didn't have anything like that. It was nice, smooth, and it did go a little dry, which honestly,
Now, there's a lot of marbles up in the top.
that's
You're going to
well,
have that.
first race of the year especially, that's going to be expected, because you're not going to have, I don't care where you're at, first race of the season, you're typically not going to have prime track conditions. What Mike McCann and the crew did with that racetrack, I thought was fantastic. The racing, I want to talk about the racing that we saw on that track. Gary didn't get he's not in the tower. He doesn't get to see a lot of the stuff that goes on, but we went right back into mid-season mode where I'm
Excited?
I'm on the red line. I'm on the red line without any Red Bull or anything. I mean, there was guys, we saw some passes in the late stages of races that, tell me one fan that was sitting on their rump and it wasn't on their feet screaming and yelling. The racing, Gary, from your side, you saw it.
I could see the stands from out there in the pits. I was standing on turn 3 a lot of times waiting for the hot pit during the show, and boy, oh boy, you could see a lot of fans standing up out there.
Man, but just the side-by-side, we saw sprint cars 4 wide.
Yep.
Sprint cars. Open wheel, high horsepower sprint cars 4 wide. Are you kidding me? No. That is not something you don't see very many places other than like Eldora and the big wide tracks. We saw them 3 and 4 wide multiple times in the feature. We saw the finish to the sport mods. I'll tell you right now, the sport mods were the class of the night. Largest class, great field, and I'm telling you the field of cars in that division.
We're tough.
Oh, buddy. We had some heavy hitters there in the names of, you got Mike Medell, Jordan Broughton, the Sanders brothers. There was, I could go on and on and on. 19 of them, and they were all fast.